whether he is a leader or just another sheep caught up in the frenzy, the rhetoric of hate radio's Rush Limbaugh has quickly evolved from tin-eared naivete to insurrectionist fury. In our third story on the countdown, in a political climate tinged with both racism and allusions to violence, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi says, in essence, that we as a nation need to be far more careful. As we first mentioned yesterday, Limbaugh has turned a run-of-the-mill fight over who got to sit where on a school bus in Bellevue, Illinois, into a racially motivated beating.
It's Obama's America, is it not? Obama's America. White kids getting beat up on school buses now. I mean, you put your kids on a school bus, you expect safety. But in Obama's America, the white kids now get beat up with the black kids cheering, yeah, right on, right on, right on, right on. And of course, everybody says, oh, the white kid deserved it. He was born a racist. He's white. Just return the white students to their rightful place, their own bus with bars on the windows and armed guards. They're racist.
See what he did there at the end? He used hyperbole, evidently, to make his point about how all white people are accused of being racists. But at bottom, it's just another way for Limbaugh to be racist. And when a caller points out that the police captain there said that there was, after all, no evidence that the fight was racially motivated, Limbaugh's just having none of the facts.
I think the guy's wrong. I think not only was it racism, it was justifiable racism. I mean, that's the lesson that we're being taught here today. Kids shouldn't have been on a bus anyway. We need segregated buses. It was invading space. So, but this is Obama's America.
And left unanswered is why Limbaugh's self-professed ditto head should be expected to take anything Mr. Limbaugh says is anything other than literal. Meantime, while not specifically asked about Limbaugh or Glenn Beck or Bill O'Reilly today, Speaker Pelosi was asked about the increasingly hostile political climate.
I have concerns about some of the language that is being used because I saw this myself in the late 70s in San Francisco. This kind of rhetoric was very frightening. I wish that we would all, again, curb our enthusiasm in some of the statements that are made, so understanding that some of the people, the ears that it is falling on are not as balanced as the person making the statement might assume.
The Speaker's references to the 70s and what she said was a, quote, climate of violence, then clearly alluding to the slaying of San Francisco Mayor George Moscone and city supervisor and gay rights activist Harvey Milk in 1978. Let's turn now to the former chairman of the Democratic National Committee, consultant to McKenna, Long, and Aldrich, as well as Democracy for America, former Governor Howard Dean. Thanks for your time tonight, sir.
Thanks, Keith.
Speaker Pelosi also said we have to take responsibility for our words and any incitement that may cause. Do you share her concern?
I do. I think that, you know, there's a lot of money to be made in passing out hate of the kind that Rush Limbaugh is just doing. And Rush Limbaugh's, look, he's always an entertainer, but he's way over the line. And this is there's a long, unfortunate American tradition to this, going back to Father Coughlin and people before that. They appeal to the very worst in people. They appeal to the side of all of us that is about anger and fear and hatred. And they empower it. And it is an evil thing to do, and it's very, very bad for the country. But for a long time, these people have put themselves and their wallets way ahead of America. They pretend to be patriots, but they're not patriotic at all. They don't serve our country.
The Speaker didn't mention any names here, but essentially she was saying certain statements are not falling on the ears of necessarily balanced people. That seems to me to be sort of the overlooked essential part of this equation here, isn't it? I mean, if they're beginning to talk like, you know, they want insurrection, somebody's going to take it seriously.
I don't think that we're going to get to that point. But look, I've been through this before. We were the first state in the country to do civil unions, which is basically partnerships for gay Americans, and it's a way to give them rights. And Vermont's thought of as a pretty progressive place. We had this very kind of stuff. People were very, very angry, very upset. And it wasn't so much just about gay rights, which is a foreign view for them. It was about change. And there's always a certain population that's very fearful of change, very confused by change, worried about what it's going to mean for them. And I saw this in people that I knew well and liked. You know, there's an underside to human nature that's what Limbaugh and Glenn Beck and all these people are taking advantage of. They're appealing to the bad part in all of us, and we all have it. And no matter how many degrees we may have or how what fancy our neighborhood is, everybody has this. The problem is, do you want to incite it? And what does that mean for the country if you want to build a small country, to build a great country? country.
Is this conversation sort of an extension, I mean, the one about intense animosity, its relationship to the prospect of violence, is this the natural follow-up to what President Carter said about the intensely demonstrated animosity toward President Obama?
I think it's about, I mean, race certainly has something to do with it, but it's much more than this is going on long before President Obama was president.
Yes.
This is about appealing to the very worst instincts in human beings, and I think it's fairly despicable. I've thought that hate radio on the right was pretty despicable because they make no bones about it. They pad their wallets and they take advantage of other people. It's not an admirable, these are not admirable people, these people. They're mean people. They make jokes about people that don't deserve it. One of the reasons I never go on Bill O'Reilly's show, the only reason I don't go on Bill O'Reilly's show, is because I saw him take apart a 23-year-old who lost his father in the World Trade Center and tell him he was unpatriotic because he didn't support the war. Those kinds of people I don't hang around because they're not good for the country and they're not good for they're not good human beings.